everybody from manifestation community has basically brought in Neville Goddard's teaching at some point. Even the law of attraction teachers or reality transferring teachers, they talk about Neville Goddard, and which is really fascinating. Recently I went back to revisit Neville Goddard's books and lectures, mostly because I was actually trying to upload that into my own website, which is manifestlikeneville.com. And while I was doing that, it really made me curious what makes Neville's teaching so much potent and so much powerful and popular as well. Nowadays, Neville Goddard's teachings are everywhere. I started to become very curious. I mean, I know Neville's teachings are very special and they're really helpful, but what makes them so special? So I was able to go back into his books and find these 5 secrets that I'm gonna be teaching with you guys. And by applying these teachings with you, I'm sure you'll be able to transform your manifestation journey, just like how I have been able to too. So if you're interested in learning about these 5 secrets from Neville Goddard, stay tuned and let's get started. Welcome back to this video, guys. My name is Rav Sitola and I'm here to help you manifest the exact things that you want in life, whether it be through my meditations or my courses or these free YouTube videos. But my ultimate goal is for you to get the exact things that you want in life. And by the way, I have this new course out which is completely free. It's called Manifest Like Neville, all based on Neville Goddard's teachings, which is going to help you manifest your desired outcomes by unlocking the power of your imagination. And the link for that is down in the description box below. So now let's get started with this video, and I wanted to share with you these 5 secrets or these 5 powerful teachings that are hidden in plain sight from Neville Goddard, which you can start applying into your own manifestation journey to get the kind of exact results that you want. One of the biggest insights or the secrets that Neville taught us was the power of I am. And I am basically means the consciousness that we all have within us. Everything in this world stems out of our consciousness, and we are all part of the eternal consciousness out there. For example, when you start meditating, you may get to this feeling of this nothingness or this isness. You may get to this place where you don't experience any thought or this sense of time, and that's essentially tuning into the power of consciousness. When you're able to tap into this state of awareness or consciousness, you are able to let go of your egoic mind, which is sort of like this clinging in nature. And in this state of mind, you have the ultimate power to claim what you want to have in life. And when you are able to tap into this state of I am, you're able to just manifest what you want with more ease. And it may sound hard, but one easy way to do it is just being relaxed, where you're just letting your thoughts wander and go away. And sometimes you just get to this place of absolute bliss when you're maybe resting on the couch, when you're not like really engaging your mind on like reading something or watching TV or anything like that. And you may get into this state where you're not actually sleeping, but your mind gets so quiet that nothing exists. It almost feels like this sense of weight has just lifted off from you. And when you're able to relax this way, you're able to tap into that state of consciousness, and this is the place where you can tap into your ultimate potential from. But also another easy way to get there is through meditating. For example, I do transcendental meditation. I've done this for past 3 years, and this just lets go of all of these doubts and obstacles that are coming into my reality. From this place, when my mind becomes a blank slate, I feel like I can write anything over there and it eventually gets reflected back into my reality. Whereas if my mind is already cluttered with a lot of other things like distractions or having these doubts of not being able to manifest my desires, I won't be able to get there because my mind already is consumed with a lot of things. And when your mind is already engaged in other things, you're not able to tap into the ultimate state of the consciousness. So that is the first step. I know it's a little esoteric. It may sound a little bit difficult at this time. I assure you that this is a really attainable state, and with practice and perseverance, you can definitely get there. And from there, you can go on about manifesting your desires, which brings us to secret number 2, which is unlocking the power of your imagination. Imagination is the ultimate tool which can help us manifest our desires. And Neville always talked about imagination in every single one of his lectures, and he also referred to imagination as Christ Jesus. But essentially what he meant by this was imagination is a tool that helps you connect with the God, the higher power, or whatever you want to call it, right? The universe directly. And when you're able to engage your imagination deliberately to visualize the kinds of outcome that you want, you're able to manifest them really easily. And Neville always said that once you engage your imagination and start embodying that kind of life, even if it's just in your mind at the moment, right? It becomes inevitable for that thing to happen in your life. So imagination is the ultimate power that helps you manifest what you want. Imagination always doesn't have to be visualization. For example, when you're scripting, that's also creating some kind of images in your mind. When you're talking to yourself, that also creates some kind of imagery in your mind. All that falls under imagination. And when you are able to just deliberately imagine the outcomes that you want, you're one step closer to getting to your goal. Which brings us to Neville's secret number 3, which is to change your mental diet. What I mean by this is we all have these kinds of like mental conversations, and these conversations, if they're not aligned with our desires yet, it's our responsibility, it's our job to actually change those in accordance to our desire. Because let's say your goal is to manifest $1 million in your bank account, but all day long you look at your bank balance and you keep saying to yourself, oh man, this could never happen for me. I can't manifest this. This is just beyond my ability and beyond my reach. And maybe I'm just unlucky in life. If you have all these kinds of like negative mental talk going on throughout the day in your mind, you're not gonna be able to sustain your imagination for a longer time. You may even feel frustrated next time when you're trying to imagine or visualize your goal, or you're basically just going off track. And it's your job to see when you are getting off track and bring yourself back. And it does help us to understand that a lot of these inner talkings or these inner conversations that we're having in our mind is coming out of our negative limiting beliefs. Sometimes you have to go really deep into your negative limiting beliefs to fix these. A lot of people have really hardwired kind of negative beliefs, which if you're not able to really fix in time, it's just gonna make you more disappointed. As I see a lot of like new people coming into manifesting and they try it for a few times, and if they're not really able to address these limiting beliefs, they just feel like manifestation doesn't work and they start demonizing the whole process of manifestation. If you have this limiting belief that you can never get over a certain level of income, and so, sometimes we have this blueprint or this set points, if we're not able to break through the threshold of that, we get stuck in that. And let's say you feel that going over $10,000 per month is just impossible for me. You just get stuck in there because you may have a limiting belief that says going over $10,000 per month may make me feel like a really fraudulent kind of person who's taking advantage of others, and you don't want to be that. So these kinds of like beliefs are maybe holding you back from getting to that point of earning $1 million per year. You have to really start observing these kinds of thoughts and getting them in the right track. And if you're not able to get them in the right track just by pure willpower, then you have to go in deeper into fixing your limiting beliefs, and this is the way you can fix your mental diet. Now, once you start changing your mental diet, the next thing that may naturally happen, or you may even have to put a little bit more effort into that, is what Neville calls live in the end. So live in the end basically means you really start seeing yourself as someone who already has attained your goal. And I've seen some examples of people giving you suggestions like just clear out your closet space so that your future partner can come in to fill up that space with their own stuff and whatnot, right? I mean, those are like okay advices, but ultimately what it comes down to is you being able to have that belief that your manifestation is gonna come true regardless of what is happening right now. Having this faith is more important than trying to do things where you're not actually making yourself believe even after you do that kind of stuff. For example, you may even make some space for your in your closet for your future partner to come in and put in their stuffs, right? But at the same time, every time you see that space, it makes you feel like you're lacking something because they're not here yet, right? That's going to even backfire. That's not going to really help you out. But what I personally like to do and what I personally like to teach is, instead of doing some like practical stuffs, try to imagine doing the things that you would be doing once you've manifested your desired outcome. For example, if it's to be in that relationship with your perfect partner, you basically see yourself going out on dates. For example, you go into a coffee shop and you're sitting there all by yourself, but in your mind's eye, you see your partner sitting right across in the table, and it could be just like a really silly kind of imaginal act, right? And they're ordering something else, and you just bask in this feeling of gratitude as you imagine being there with your partner, your future partner. And you're just having loving conversations and you're just having really good time with them, and you imagine the vivid details and you combine that with what's actually out there, like view from the window, or the light inside the coffee shop, or the hotness or the coldness of the coffee that you guys are drinking together. The more senses you are able to incorporate into your imaginal acts, the more vivid your mind will perceive it to be, and that gets eventually pushed out there. And this brings us to our final secret and the final step, which is to persist, persist, persist. What I mean by this is a lot of people go about manifesting as if it was something that they do while sleeping and it comes the next day. I mean, those kind of magical things surely can happen. It has happened to me as well. I'm not saying those can't happen at all. But what about those times when you don't see results for extended periods of time? I personally experienced success story myself that's come after maybe like 4 or 5 years. And I'm not saying that it's gonna take that much time for your particular manifestation to happen. But what I'm saying is, what if it does actually take 5, 6 years? Are you still gonna be able to persist? Because a lot of times you'll experience doubt, you'll experience resistance, and you may feel like it's probably never gonna happen, because the reality is showing complete opposite of what you want to manifest in your life. But if you don't have the ability to persist during these times, you're probably gonna give up. It kind of makes me think of that example of planting a seed. One farmer, he plants a seed and he goes on there and checking it every single day. And there's another farmer who planted another seed right next to him around the same time. But he's not as worried. He goes there, waters the plant, but he doesn't really obsess about when it's gonna grow, because he understands that certain things in life takes time. And the more he waters the plant, he cultivates more and more faith. And watering the plant here means he's activating all these steps that I shared with you before, right? Tuning into the consciousness, the power of consciousness, also living in the end, using your imagination, just changing your mental diets and fixing your limiting beliefs, doing all that kinds of stuff, right? He's watering the plants and he knows that he wants that seed to grow. He's nurturing it, right? But he's not really obsessed like the other farmer who goes there and he tries to water the plant and he's like, okay, it should have happened by now. What's happening? And he goes around, tells everybody that it's not happening, right? And he's also projecting his limiting beliefs and his limiting thoughts into this plant, which probably was about to grow. But he goes and he starts digging out the plant to see if the seeds have actually grown or not. Lo and behold, he realizes that the seed had already grown into a sapling and it was just about to bring its first shoot out of the ground. But when he dug it out, he basically destroyed that seed and all the potential that it had. Persisting in manifestation throughout negative circumstances and doubt. And whenever those kinds of like storms come and make you feel like it's gonna take everything away from you, you still keep persisting, because if you don't do it, you feel like nothing is working for me. And those kinds of beliefs are going into the same kind of like negative mental direction that we're talking before, right? You're cultivating a negative mental diet like before. So unless you're able to keep bringing your thought back into it's working in my favor, everything is happening for me, it's gonna not really bring out the most potent result that it could for your own manifestation journey. So going forward, I want you to keep these 5 points in mind. So let's just go through these 5 points over again. Number 1, understand the power of I am and tap into it. Point number 2, activate the power of your imagination and start using your imagination to envision the kind of life that you want. Point number 3, change your mental diet that's going in accordance to your desire, that's completely aligned with your desire. Point number 4, practice living in the end by giving gratitude for the things that are about to come. And point number 5, persist in your desired outcome. Apply all these 5 steps into your manifestation journey. I mean, I don't have to guarantee this. Neville already guaranteed that our manifestation is going to come true. And I truly believe that because I've experienced this so many times in my life. But ultimately, it comes down to these 5 powerful steps that you can start applying right now. So I highly urge you to look at your own manifestation journey and see where you are actually lacking. Are you lacking in cultivating that kind of mental diet? Or are you lacking in believing that you have the power of the consciousness that's going to help you manifest what you want? Do you feel like you can't really engage your imagination towards the things that you want, and sometimes when you're trying to do it, maybe it's going in the opposite direction? Just observe yourself and try to see where you are lacking in life so you can go after what you want and manifest exactly what it is that you want. With that being said, guys, I do have a free Neville Goddard course which you can sign up, and the link for that is in the description box below. It's gonna take you through some exercises to unlock your imagination power, and if that's where you're lacking, I highly recommend you sign up for that course. And with that being said, I want to wish you all the very best. Happy manifesting, goodbye, and namaste.